everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today I'm going to do a little top 10 list on games with blind bidding. Now, blind bidding or secret bidding or hidden bidding or whatever you might want to call it is a fairly controversial mechanism in games, where usually you put money out in a fist, or you have it behind a screen, or sometimes it's on cards that are face down, but no one knows what you're bidding, and then we reveal them. What makes it controversial is people don't necessarily like to bid. Some people don't like to bid, spend money, and then not get anything, or get something of a fairly low value. It doesn't bother me as much, but I can see why some people don't like it. So I thought I would take a look at my 10 favorite games with it in it. Although I suspect there's a few that I've forgotten about through, we'll just have to wait and see. There's also some games that have it in it in a very minor way, and so I might have missed those also, or just not put them on the list. So let's start with number 10, where this is a game I extremely like, and blind bidding is only part of it, which is why it's number 10, and that's Rising Sun. So Rising Sun, this big, epic, back and forth with giant monsters and different people running around the board, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in this game. But the battles themselves are a bit of blind bidding, where you are basically putting amounts on. What are you going to do? Are you going to try to just go out all out attack? Are you going to try to capture the enemy? What are you going to do with your pieces? And I kind of like this system. Behind the shield, you have these extra things. How are you going to spend them? What are you going to do? And I feel like this to me is what elevates this over other similar games, this battle system, which is essentially a form of blind bidding. Number 9 is Ys. This is a game that is really not widely known today. It's the game that, for me, put Istari onto the map. All their titles usually have Y and S in them. This one, that's all it has in it. But this was half blind bidding, which I really liked. You would put these tokens down, but half of them you put face down. The other half you put face up as you're trying to, get gems and, the whole basic genre, part of the game, getting gems and using them. But the idea that half your bids were face down and the other half face up made this a game that I really enjoyed. Number 8 is For Sale. Now, For Sale is half blind bidding, which again is why it's lower on the list, because I really do love For Sale. For Sale is a simple game. The first half you bid. It's normal bidding. You're bidding money to acquire these house cards that are numbered from 1 to 30. The second half, though, you put a bunch of checks in the middle of the table, and everyone's going to put a house card down from their hand, reveal those at the same time, and the highest card gets the highest check, etc. So there's this blind, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I know he has the 28, but is he going to use it on this one or not? You're going to get something in this game, although there's a few checks that are worth 0. But I think this one works well in this genre. Again, though, realizing it's the second half of the game. Number 7 is QE. QE is the weirdest game on this list. It's also a game that I really enjoy. And it's also a game that's 75% blind bidding. In this game, you can bid any amount of money you want. I'm not kidding there. Any amount, up to $septillion or more. The thing is, at the end of the game, whoever has bid the most money is going to lose. So you have to be careful. But one person makes an open bid, and everyone else is going to make secret bids. And you don't know what everyone else has bid. All you know is who won. So you know they've bid more than you. And so this is some interesting back and forth between the players. So it's like a quasi-secret bidding, but it is a hilarious game. It sounds like it should not work mechanically, but it does. That's QE. Number 6 is Tammany Hall. Tammany Hall is a game in which you're actually bidding influence rather than money, and you are controlling different regions on the board in the city of New York, trying to win their votes. And most of the time, you are blind bidding for control of them, and you only have a little bit of influence over the course of this game. And it's so critical that if I win this one, I can't win that one. Is there a way I can win both? And you're trying to outthink the other person. Blind bidding is a good chunk of this game, but for some reason it feels different than it normally does, at least I feel, and it's a vicious back and forth, fun, entertaining game. Number 5 is Fist of Dragonstones. This is the first one that comes to my mind because that's all this game is. In Fist of Dragonstones, you are trying to win some Dragonstones, and you actually put out your bids in a fist in this game. You have fairy gold. Every round, you spend this fairy gold that comes back to you, but you can also get some permanent gold and silver, which breaks ties, and you can use that too, but that will never come back. And then you win different characters, which give you special abilities. Some give you things to get the Dragonstones. Some give you Dragonstones outright. Some let you do all kinds of different activities. Stronghold Games just reprinted this a few years ago. I really like this one. Again, this is a very divisive game. Some people don't like that they bid 6 a lot and someone bid 7 and beat them. But I kind of like that back and forth, trying to outthink the other person. Number 4 for me is Viceroy. Viceroy is a game that was really big when it came out. I don't hear as many people talking about it now. Now, this is a very small blind bid in a sense that you're just bidding on 4 different cards that are out there. And if you play with 2 or 3 players, it's very possible we got no problem. I did red, you did blue. I took this card, you took that card. But occasionally you will cross paths, and that's what makes this game interesting. Well, I mean, the taking the cards and building a pyramid and all that stuff, that makes it even more interesting. But the blind bidding at the beginning of each round is something that you are really going to think about, because how badly do I want that card? But I know you want it too, so maybe I won't bid for that. Maybe I'll pick a different card instead. And then the rest of the game is just fantastic. Number 3 here is You're Bluffing, or Kundhandel. You're bluffing. You have a bunch of cards. You're trying to collect sets of cards. 4 horses worth 1,000 points. 4 chickens, I think, is worth 10. That sounds crazy, but the game works really well. You are bidding back and forth and offering someone a bid. The thing is, they don't know what you're offering them, because there are 0 bidding cards in there. So I could say, here's 6 cards, and 4 of them have zeros on, but maybe they don't. And so it's this give and take, and so it's some people might not even consider this blind bidding, but it's just a bluffing game as you pass these cards. But you are kind of bidding back and forth, so I included it on this list. Number 2 is Aladdin's Dragons. Richard Breese has made several games that start with the word key. This one was one of them, but was remade as Aladdin's Dragons from Rio Grande, and I'm still kind of waiting for an updated version of this. In this game, you are sending your thieves in to get treasures, and you do that by placing them face down on various spots on the board. You are bidding for those spots. Whoever has the most there is going to win it. The thing is, I can see how many tokens you put there, but I don't know how much each of those tokens is worth. So it's definitely blind bidding, but at least if you put 2 tokens there, I'm thinking, well, they could have put the 9 and the 7 there, 16, you know, I don't know if I should even fight it. And meanwhile, you just put the 1 and the 2 there. Some nice components, a fun theme. This is one worth checking out. And my number 1 game for blind bidding is an easy choice for me, and that's Revolution from Steve Jackson Games. Now, Revolution, you are attempting to throw Revolution. You are doing so by getting control in different regions on the board. You do this by secretly blind bidding each turn on a bunch of different spots behind a screen. You have money, blackmail, and force. The most money will win somebody, although any blackmail trumps money, and force trumps blackmail. If we both use force, and maybe I throw some money in there, so on top of my force there's money. It's really interesting. Some characters can't have force and or blackmail used against them, and this is really well done. Now, there's 2 ways to play. I play the normal rules where if you lose the bid, you also lose your money. Some people like to play you keep your money. It works both ways. And even if you lose the bids, you'll still get stuff to come back and win later on. But it's canny because you look at these different characters, and this is a game, one of the few games where the expansions, there's 2 expansions, both expansions really elevate the game even more so. Even if you don't like blind bidding games, you might like this one. It has a fun theme, and it just plays really well. It's a very enjoyable game. So those are my top 10 blind bidding games. What did I forget? What should I have mentioned? Put it in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.